But then again, I think it's very much relevant again, because the thing is, when he was in CLG, it's true, he was the one who was never like fully activated. It was JDM that you knew would turn up every game. And then when he came over Optic, he seemed to have fixed that immediately. I mean, he actually like had a lot of say in them taking Stanislaw instead of Daps. Actually, he's the in-game leader. And he initially, for those first 3 to 4 months, was playing very, very well. It was him and Mick well. It's like a duo, you know. But I have to say, since they lost Stanislaw and since the team's really fallen down in the rankings, I think Tarek's the one who's dropped off massively. You know, he did all right at the last tournament. He was okay there, but I feel like he's the guy where he hasn't been at that top level and hasn't been a star player. And he's suffered without an in-game leader, I feel.
I can see you're chomping at the bit to jump into Tarek.
I mean, he had a great game on Overpass, which was, you know, good, and we could have confidence because of that. But you know, the storyline we had before, it's very hit or miss with him now.
Yeah.
Like, there's games where he just kind of I remember they were playing online, actually, and he was like 1-17 at one point or something like that, and everybody's just like, what's going on? But, you know, at the start of this tournament, they did play an Overpass game, and he was, like, fantastic. I mean, I think he's top 5.
Well, I actually do feel like he's the person who should benefit the most from having Hazed there, because I know when Hazed was in CLG, obviously he wasn't the in-game leader, but he actually used to say, like, his whole mentality was, like, how do I get Tarek rolling? Like, obviously Hazed was the entry frag, you know, like, I go in first, try and encourage him to come in at. So I feel like if anyone should know how to get him going, it should be him in theory.
And with that said, they do need an opponent, and I'm very excited to once again take a look at G2. The French superstars are here in London.
Kenny S, Body, Shox, MBK, and Apex make up the team known as G2 Esports. Their triumphs in the ESL Pro League and DreamHack led this team to a #4 ranking amongst their peers.
We kind of need to confirm that we definitely are one of the best teams in the world.
But we're still trying to improve day after day and feel more confident as a team than we were the day before.
Proudly representing France, G2 came to Wembley to put their competition in body bags and to walk away as confident champions.
The last time we saw G2 on this very stage in this very arena was when they were lifting the trophy for Season 1. The crowd did certainly drive them over the line, and we're going to get to see them again as they'll be walking out shortly versus Optic. Just to touch on their roster just a little bit, though, Duncan, they are the super team to everyone that perceives and sees those names on paper. Not quite super team results yet, despite some victories recently.
On the way. Like the lineup that won Season 1, there's only 2 players remaining from that. There's Shox, like, who was obviously the star piece of that team, and then there was Body, who really was kind of like the found money, the hidden treasure of that team. That was just initially to make up numbers, but now he really is one of the better players in the team. So what makes it the super team is you brought in that Kenny S Apex duo, which has been there in Titan since the past. Obviously, you actually helped to win a major in Envious with NBK, and NBK, crucially, until last year's G2 team, he was always the kingmaker in the French scene, you know, because always it was his teams. They'd be the ones who got the winning side of every trade, and they would win all the titles. So now he's back to do it with G2.
Can I pull on that NBK thread just a little more? Because it does seem like there's a strange, not dynamic, but there is a strange interpretation of NBK's role, whereby he's not necessarily in-game leading, but he always strikes me as the leader of a team. Is that something you've kind of perceived as well?
Yeah, well, especially because what happens is a lot of the other people they've had in all the other teams have like a very set in their way approach to in-game lead. So like Existence was like this, you had to do everything exactly he wants tactically. Happy was like that one style, and they were never going to break away. So I always think of NBK as like the locker room leader, you know. He's like the emotional leader, and also crucially, because he's a very serious guy, he's the guy who kind of keeps people in line a little bit. Some of the others, they will lose motivation sometimes or stop practicing. You know, they have all sorts of drama in the French scene, but he's the guy in theory who's steering it back roughly to where you want to be again.
Locker room leader. Is there an equivalent, Sam, from Optic? Is there someone that can drive them when times are tough? Is there someone that's going to be doing that?
You know, I think Optic is a little bit more emotionally unstable. I think Hayes would probably be that now.
Yeah.
He seems to have a good head on his shoulders, kind of know, you know, keeping everybody in place, like, hey, we lost or whatever, but we could still win, things like that. But as far as like them as individuals, they could be pretty like angry at each other and things like that, even during like a big match.
Well, remember there was that game where like the Spanish commentators were listening, and you could just hear the comms that, you know, sometimes leaks through the CS:GO client, and they were basically just like swearing at each other. Well, F off then, just don't come to my site. It's like brilliant.
Solid.
Reasonable. Game, of course. Yeah.
Well, with that said, we will come back. We'll give you the vetoes. We'll break down a little bit more in the nitty and gritty. But first, I think the SSE Arena and this crowd should give a warm welcome back to Seltzer. She's on stage, and it's time for you to meet your players. G2 and Optic are about to take the stage.
Thank you both so much. Up on the analyst desk, now I know what you guys came for, and it is excellent Counter-Strike. These two teams came here to provide, but let's not forget, they're also fighting for their tournament life in this match. So please help me welcome to the stage the winners of E-League Season 2, Optic Gaming, and the winners of ECS Season 1, G2 Esports.
Counter-Strike Rockstars, that's what they are, and they're going to hopefully be able to show us some of that sexy Counter-Strike in just a moment's time. First, we have to understand exactly where this battle will be done. Now, we've moved away from best of ones, just one day of it, and two teams managed to secure their place in the semi-finals. Now the rest, as Seltzer did say, are battling for survival. The next 3 games of Counter-Strike, at least potentially 3 games of Counter-Strike, will determine the fate of both G2 and Optic, both setting high hopes on this one. We heard in the interview, Optic will not be happy and will be dissatisfied with anything less than getting to that grand final, as you would expect from every team with a winner's mindset, Sam. But let's start talking, because I know that yourself and Duncan were having a brainstorm regarding maps, and it didn't seem to be quite so easy to actually come up with an answer.
Well, I think this is the difference between the teams, and you can kind of parallel that into the map vetoes. We know what G2 wants to do. They know what they want to do in-game. They all have like their set roles. They know who needs to step up during which strat. They know who needs to step up during the double op setups, who should be getting the kills, who should be responsible for what, and they know what maps they want to ban and veto. But with Optic, it's almost like a question mark. I don't think they have a map that they could go to and just say, this is the map we want to play against any team and we're confident versus. So there's definitely a lot of question marks, you know, with Optic's map pool.
Can that be attributed just to the fact that they haven't got a leader, Duncan? I hate to keep beating the dead horse, but surely.
Well, that combined with the fact that when they come to LAN, they've had a lot of losses, so it's hard to really look and find, well, where are we getting our wins? They very rarely win games, actually, against the top teams at LAN, so they can go from the online form, but even then, as you're saying, that was Jason R before that, previous to that, Hayes actually was the stand-in, and then they've just been all over the place in terms of the in-game leader. So I put it at like it's up to the in-game leader where he wants the team to head ultimately, and at the moment, Hayes himself's only a stand-in in that sense.
Okay, so it looks like we're going to hold fire on the vetoes just for a moment then. Instead, there was an opportunity to bring a head-to-head, and the players selected were both Shox and Mixwell. We've touched on Mixwell before, but I do think Shox is definitely worth discussing a little further. I know that you, as an esports, specifically a CS historian, Shox is a name that you would be annoyed if the people here in Wembley were not familiar with. Please, do fill them in as the vetoes do apparently.
Sure, yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, I wasn't somebody who followed Source, but he is widely held by everyone in that game as like one of the all-time greats. He's in that conversation for best player ever. Fantastic aim, especially like an absolute banger as a player.
Yeah, and we'll see what map he'll be doing battle on. Duncan, let's do it.
So the ban here of Nuke is fairly obvious for Optic anyway, but everyone should be doing that against G2 because at the moment they're really, really good on it. Kenny S is probably the best AWPer in the world on that map. I think in terms of the ban, it should be the standard Mirage here, I think. Okay. Even though I don't really know myself that Optic would go to it, but you got to take it out if you're G2 because traditionally you just always ban it. The problem is, this is the question, what is the pick? I was scared of this, which is that Optic picks Overpass. It's the one few map I can think of that they still like. The problem is, that's one of the maps that the guys from G2 have really been doing work on, getting wins against top-level teams, and as a result, being able to win like EPL, for example. Even the game they lost to North, one of the best teams in the world, it was a very, very close game. The pick here, I think it's going to be Cobblestone. Cobblestone or Cash feel like they're two obvious ones, and if it's Cobblestone...
I agree with Cobblestone because obviously they did not play well on Cash versus SK, so you've got to think, it will probably be Cobble here.
Oh, I see an Optic shirt.
Go with Inferno, though. That's a bit of a... Here's the thing, like, this is a map where it's true. G2's been up and down on it, but that's one of the maps where they really like that double AWP setup. They have Shox plays with the AWP in the B site. If they get it rolling, it's real tough to beat them.
Yeah, what I see from G2 on Inferno, whenever I watch them, really good CT sides. They push B with 3 people. They have really good mid-round rotations. Yeah. And a lot of the time, they end up 13-2 on CT side, 14-1. Especially when they get the economy going and they have full mollies. They take B control almost every time, put a lot of pressure on the Ts. But sometimes their T side could be a bit lacking.
Yeah, here we go. It's Optic that bans Cobble, right? You'd expect Train to be banned here, and we end up with Cash at the side. So the problem with this is, if like Cash is one that has been up and down for G2, but they only tend to lose it to the top teams, to be fair. I feel like G2's got to be very happy with the whole veto.
Yeah,
no, absolutely.
So you're not basically not too worried about Cash because you're not anticipating us getting there?
No, I think that this is the thing. Optic has had to. Unfortunately, they're just in a situation where this is one of the few teams where there wasn't really any out there. There wasn't an obvious way you could go. I mean, they themselves might have even picked Inferno as like a gamble pick, you know. So I feel as though their map pick, Overpass, they're very much threatened on that one, and they might not be able to even get to 3.
Well, I mean, I think I want to just quickly remind everyone, you know, in terms of head-to-head, man for man, pound for pound, I sometimes get blinded by the fact that you've got Apex, you have Kenny, yes, you have Shox. Like, I struggle to be able to put Optic up alongside them and find equals. Is there something you could do for us, Sam? I mean, is there someone that can kind of, you know, match Apex in terms of entry? Do we look at Rush? Do we look at NAF? Where are our eyes drawn?
So the thing about Optic, like I discussed earlier, is they have so many players that could do so many different things, but they don't really have anybody that like specializes in it. Right, so when you look at a team like G2, you're going to generally see Apex going first, right? If you look at a team like Cloud9, generally Stewie's going to go in first. But Optic they just do it by committee. Sometimes Mixwell's first, sometimes they literally all 5 of them could like be entry fraggers or lurkers or you know whatever.
But don't we have an expression for that, Duncan? Jack of all trades.
Disorganized team.
Jack of all trades, master of none.
What was the term? Yeah. Jack of all trades, master of none.
Absolutely. That's something to be worried about. But final thoughts do seem to be the vibe that G2 have taken this one, at least in the veto process and in terms of manpower. But I do want to just get some kind of concrete predictions. Are we going to see 3, Duncan?
No, I think G2's going to brutalize them.
Brutalize?
Trauma, Vietnam flashbacks, everything.
Whew. Dazed?
Yeah, I mean, I would go 2-0 just because I'm just not nearly as confident in this Optic team as I was 4 or 5 months ago.
Okay, well, we'll leave it there then. Doubt for Optic, but now something I'm very excited to introduce, and it's not your casters. What do you do at the start of a Face-It game? Let's kick it off with a Face-It fanfare.
Hello. All right. Thank you very much to Sarah Owens on the stage with the trumpet. That is awesome. I didn't know that was happening until like half an hour ago.
It's so weird just hearing that yesterday because that was a surprise to me as well. It's like it's really weird. I'm still like in my mind trying to search for that Chrome tab. We're like, wait, you know, where is it? Where can I press accept? But yeah, we are here now and we're going to witness potentially a very problematic setup for Optic to deal with. Of course, they actually surprised me with their Overpass game yesterday against FaZe. Obviously, they weren't able to win it, but the first half looks pretty good. I mean, Tarek was putting up great numbers, but of course, you know, the 2 stars in that Tarek and Mixwell, they're going to have to put up those numbers if they want to defeat G2. G2 are just monsters individually. Where do you go?
Yeah, and on the subject of being monsters, I think it's a really good set of maps for G2, especially if it goes towards Cash. I mean, the French are always extremely violent on Cash, and moving into Inferno, I do wonder if Optic have anything as aggressive as, say, a G2K Factor on Cloud9 on the T side. But Overpass first is the infamous map where we saw Shox in that pistol round in London last year, where he went absolutely nuclear from the first round. So it's going to be a very hard task for Optic. They spoke about the kind of emotional pressure the team might have with the likes of Hayes and so on. So indeed, it is an uphill struggle. But we've seen upsets already from the North American team, so maybe we'll see one here as well.
And I think I like that Duncan used the word brutalized. I think that is always a potential, especially when these French players, in particular, take to the stage. Because, you know, as the tournament gets deeper and deeper, from championship quality teams, you see this quality, which is the quality of peaking, getting better throughout the tournament. And now that they've reached the stage, now that we have fans, a beautiful audience of esports fans, you know, in this audience, we've got, you know, the sold-out arena. I think they're going to play so much better than yesterday. And of course, yesterday they did play against SK, which was kind of an interesting matchup, but just a best of one. So G2 are here to really set the tone for the entire tournament.
Yeah, it looks like Optic are going to be starting on the CT side. And I think that's certainly going to help. I think they will probably have a better time of things on their CT side than their T side, but that doesn't mean they're going to have a good time of things. Again, they are against G2, and by no means is that going to be an easy feat, no matter what side you start on. So it's going to be a tough match for Optic, But it's best of 3 time. Again, upsets are all well and good in a best of 1 series, but in a longer, more drawn-out series, it's going to be even more difficult for Optic to try and get an upset.
And I'm just really anticipating, like, what is the approach going to be from G2? Because I feel like they're the team that have the ability to really essentially set the tone of this game. They can just go all guns blazing straight away and just try to bully Optic, trying to demoralize them, just show that, look, you guys aren't as good as us. We're going to win every battle. We're going to take crazy risks right at the start just to really throw them off. Or will they actually try to play that more standard approach? Just take it easy, see what Optic want to do, give Optic some space, and if Optic are to make some mistakes, then you try to shut them down. Like, I'm wondering which kind of G2 we're going to see today. Again, it's a team that can be quite an emotional team as well, so it's definitely going to be exciting. I'm hoping that we get the former, that they just go crazy straight away.
Yeah, I think one of the interesting things about Shox is that he's always thinking about what his opponents are trying to do and always trying to counter, and he will get aggressive. And the question is, we've seen, like, when you see Cloud9, for example, I think they're a good example in North America. If you allow them to do what they want to do, they will roll over you no matter what side they're on, and Optic can't allow G2 to dictate the pace. If they do, it's going to be even harder for them to get anything done. I think the knife is live, actually. Yes. So I did say Optic was starting on CT side, but we'll find out, in fact, where they will be starting soon enough. So the game's going to be underway very soon indeed. But yeah, I think over this series, especially, we've seen Shox. He's not afraid to pick up a second AWP. I think that might be a problem, another problem to deal with. Mixwell's pretty good though, but these guys can appear anywhere. But then that might end up being a weakness for G2 as well, because obviously that has an economical implication if you're picking up double ops all the time. And if Optic can break those kind of buys, then they may be able to string some rounds together. So by no means can we count them out, but it's not going to be easy. I'm told Optic did win the knife, so I'd expect them to start CT side. We will see what they choose to do very soon.
Yeah, and of course, Inferno is another map where they're just infamous at just bringing out the double AWP in spots where maybe it's not, not the best call, but they just really like to go to it. So you're right there. I think that's something we will see. It is very interesting to see Shox's style now that he's in-game leading. He's not been doing so for quite some time. I know in a recent interview he said that sometimes it does impact his performance a bit, but that said, he's a guy that can just go absolutely nuts at any moment. And kennyS is the guy you're looking at generally with this team when it comes to AWPing. He's the guy that's going to bring that explosiveness. And I mean, at the last big tournament that they were able to win, it was amazing, just like the level of form he was able to reach into the finals. So that's something to look out for. But also Body, a guy who sort of came up in the shuffle, but I'm going to have to cut myself short because the game is starting. Optic Gaming on the CT side of map 1 against G2. Both teams facing potential elimination should they lose this.
Check out these giant pistols. See, the HUD has had some upgrades from yesterday, so hope that is much better for you guys. Indeed, Optic starting on the CT side. There is Monsieur kennyS making his way through the toilet area with most of his teammates in tow. One player spotting long, doesn't want to take those engagements, wants the players up close to the Glock to be doing that. Tarek trying to hold things down. Nafly, one of the big game players for his team with 2 kills so far. Trying to hold this area for his team at the moment. They've got a man advantage as the bomb gets planted. Mixwell keeping an eye on Optimus as his teammate moves closer to the site. You see it's Shox around Optimus looking for those headshots. He's got 2 players to find. In the meantime, Apex and Nafly will get picked off. Still advantages for the Optic side, but he needs to find some kills. There's a crossfire for these teams. Mixwell taken down. Shox, he's leading the charge for his team. Very patient play down to the 1v1. He knows where Hayes is. Hayes has a health advantage, but it's going to come down to headshots surely. There he goes. Shox doing what he does on pistols and overpass, taking the lead for G2.
And this makes things scary because it does allow G2 with that economic edge to begin with Optic on the back foot, with Optic having to force buy and then save. Actually, we'll see if they go for the full force here. Some teams would actually like to leave something in the bank so they can have a better buy round when they get there. But we'll see Optic going for that full force, even a Nova from Nafly. So that's going to be very interesting. Giving up the ability to have a helmet instead is going to be on a smoke. And interestingly, around where you maybe expect some UMP, some MAC-10s, potentially, even though they would be against helmets, typically from the CTs, we just see AKs and Galils. Interesting. What do you make of that, James?
Well, so far it's a normal affair with Shox keeping an eye on the B area. Lurking towards B may help him focus on positioning his players around the rest of the map. But indeed, they're taking a slow approach, G2, and yes, they have gone for a bigger investment and less grenades, but they are a French team, so their aim may be able to back up what they have chosen to do.
I kind of like the Galils because it does, I mean, if the CTs were to seal the Galils, you kind of think that, okay, it's more likely that they're going to go long because you can't imagine them wanting to take the close range engagements that they'd have over at B. So this makes a lot of sense. This kind of just, they're tailoring the round to those gun choices, and we'll see them slowly creep up long and toilets. So this is a very classic anti-eco style, but again, you don't normally see so many Galils, so I'm curious how this will pay off. And Mixwell going to be peeking out there, spotting multiple players. That's a great start there for him. One frag, can he slow them down enough? We'll see the rotations coming in, but it does look to be a bit too slow.
Yeah, and MBK holding the flank, but they're all coming up the stairs from B to A. And Optic have a decision to make. It might be difficult for them to get back into the site. Hayes still has that one flashbang he started with, which I will mention after the round. But let's see what they choose to do. Indeed, they're backing up. So Hayes was around the graffiti position with his flashbang. And I do wonder if there is anything to get out of throwing the flashbang above the bridge to try and take flash people who are coming through from long. There must be a scope. I don't think it's something people really consider at the moment, but I'm sure that there is scope to do that. Because he was the only person on the team with the flashbang. As that push comes in, that would have certainly helped them mount a defense on the A bomb site. Either way, Optic still have 4 players alive, so the second round will be a test for G2, but they've got more money to get some more utility.
I do like this idea from Optic. You know, they get the option to actually go for another gamble, essentially. In that last round, they didn't try to go for an information play. They didn't try to be very proactive. They're just saying at the start of the round, we want to essentially gamble here, have all our players in one spot, because if we were to try to take an information play, maybe we lose a player or two, and then we can't defend with as much. Instead, we want to bank on the fact that G2 might rush one location, and we can just try to shut it down with numbers and be a bit of a surprise. Didn't work out in the first round, but now's chance number 2. We'll see what the adjustment is from them here, what the choice is, and it does seem like we're seeing a lot of presence towards a connector.
Yeah, connector always good for an eco round or a force by round. Those close quarters, numbers game, trying to cause as much bedlam as possible, but people have learned to avoid it. 3 grenades, but they're all too deep. The rifles, however, will do the job. Mixwell, Tarek, Nafly remain. I want to see an overkill, man. Big Papa Pump is in play in the first game of the day. He is begging for somebody to engage. And again, I was going to say before the match started, Nafly, you look, in terms of, we spoke a lot about G2, right? But for Optic, you need Nafly and Rush to have good performances. They're the big game rifle players for the Optic side, Mixwell obviously being on the AWP for the most part. We need them to have a big performance if Optic are to be competitive in this best of 3.
I like what G2 have done here. They get those first 2 pickoffs, then they hold for about 20-30 seconds. What they're saying is, we want to make sure we're not caught out of position should there be a response from the CTs, should the CTs decide that this is a time to take a risk. After 20-30 seconds, though, you realize that the CTs are actually just going to, they're in position, then they just want to wait, essentially. And there is something for them to say. We see the Kevlars, the helmets. And that's really the interesting question here for Optic, is that Optic will have a buy in the following round. But the choice for them is, do we just try to invest in our current equipment in doing some damage economically to our opponent, or do we care more about our own economy here and just try to save as much money as physically possible? Looks like they're going to go for some pressure. I think this is smart. They need to get some kills here. They've got to apply some pressure. You can't let G2 just survive with so much money just into these future rounds, because they are just going to walk over you. It's going to be so hard if you can't ever reset them or force them to any kind of an eco. That's a situation where Optic are unlikely to win this. So can't find any easy pressure, however, so they're going to give up on that one, and the bomb will explode. G2 with 3 rounds now to the 0 of Optic.
Buy time for the CT side. We'll see if Nafly opts to keep his shotgun. The M4s are coming out to play. Mixwell, Rush, and Hayes with M4A4s, Tarek with the silenced M4. Again, some players have started to switch more towards the M4A4. Some players notorious for their silence play, such as Rain, for example. And indeed, we see the M4A4 popular with Optic. And Nafly is keeping the Nova. I was saying it as a joke, Dan, but he's keeping it.
It's brave. I'll give him that. I love this play, though. I've seen it before yesterday from Optic. If G2 were paying attention to that, and as you mentioned, Shox does do his homework, they might expect this. It's something you might see from Kirby on Astralis as well. A forward setup. here for Optic. They want to get an advantage early on. There's a peek from Mixwell, taken down, has the support Tarek, but he will be shot in the back. And this early aggression is not going to pan out very well for Optic, losing 2 men and only taking down 1 in that effort. G2 are in a great position. Still, of course, as well, with Shox getting information towards the sewers, and that's exactly where the rest of G2 are going to go now with their superior numbers. They don't care how many players are on the site at this point. They're just going to go for it. No further information is required, and this is going to be very hard for Rush.
Optic, they still had 3 smokes, but they haven't used any of them, and now it's all too late. Hayes is not at a numbers advantage, easily wiped out, and it's left to Nafly with his shotgun to do what he can. That said, 2 of these 3 players are heavily tagged, and Nafly doesn't really have much to save at present. He's managed to upgrade to a Galil in the meantime, but it's not really in the best of situations. I don't know if Optic really knew much of where G2 were headed. I think they might have been caught by surprise there because, again, everyone, all 3 that were remaining still had smokes, could still buy time, especially with Nafly on the flank. You'd think maybe in case they're going towards B, you can get those smokes down, but perhaps they wanted to hold on to them a bit longer, expecting a later play from G2. Very successful for the French side. 3 players surviving. Nafly, the only man alive for the CT side. So it's a really bad start to their overpass. Losing the pistol, losing the first buy round. Nafly will get a consolation frag, but it's 4-0 for G2.
Yeah, the money is going to start to get a bit out of control here for the G2 side. That's another nice pick-off, though, to try to help that situation out. And we'll see whether or not it's going to impact things too heavily. Right now, MBK was around $10K, 10K on body as well, and Shox is almost there also. So the money is pretty outrageous at this early stage for the G2 side. So they can do whatever they want, and we'll see actually Body picking up a MAC-10 in this round, which is awesome to see because, again, he could have bought anything that he wanted, but he chose a MAC-10, and it's, of course, you know, fit for purpose here. He's going to be the first man around the corners. He has that jumping accuracy. He can draw fire. He's got fast movement speed whilst he can still get that killing potential against these Kevlar-less players. So in goes the rush for G2. Should be fairly straightforward. The spray comes in from Naf. Unable to get more than 1, though, for his team. And it's going to be incredibly difficult now for Optic to get any more frags, I would think, as they're stuck on the outskirts.
One thing I'd like to see later on from one of these teams is the fabled monster play with no grenades. Just walking in with absolutely no warning whatsoever. Always nice if you have the right timing, take people completely by surprise. Just the 1 kill for Optic in that round. 5-0. It's time to get on the scoreboard, guys. Upside down, mate. There we go. Optic with double AWPs, Tarek and Mixwell. They're going all in. They're at maximum loss bonus. And the snipers are coming out. But let's not forget, Kenny's got 1 too. And we've seen the damage that he's been putting out recently. He'll have a big task on his hands for this round as the CTs will get into position for the most part before the Ts will. Kenny starting off in connector. I see Mixwell having a look up top. They know Mixwell's going to be on an AWP at the very least, but will they expect a second one?
Yeah, very different approach in how G2 are moving at the moment through that connected position, and able to so far circumvent any of the initial aggression from Optic that we've seen with the AWP. So Mixwell sort of self-flash himself into the fountain position, but found out there was nothing there. And there's no presence, I don't think, or any information plays towards sewers at the moment for the Optic Gaming side, so they don't really know exactly where G2 could be. Shox is once again sitting in that position in sewers. And this is great because, again, as a leader, he can call the shots, he can get some information, he can take it a bit chill, allow his teammates to make the plays, and the plays they will make. MBK with the wide peak there, able to take down Tarek. One of the 2 AWPers is now down, and a lot of players were spotted by Tarek, but there's a minute left to go with, and Shox still had that sewers position, so G2 can still double back if they want.
That's an awful miss from Tarek, but Mixwell is not going to miss that one onto NDK. Maybe it's early jitters from the Optic side. There's still time to recover, both in this round, in this game as well. 37 seconds on the clock, and it's a 4-on-4. G2 look poised to split the A site. Those shots are still towards B. He's having a look, seeing what's going on, but he's being re-smoked. Maybe he was seeking an opportunity to enter, or a fake, who knows. But either way, his plays have been stifled by that smoke grenade. 20-second mark. And there are still 2 players for Optic towards the B bomb site. Mixwell will see 1 repositioning, and here comes the rotation from the CTs. Can he buy his team some more time? No, he's getting baited by Kenny as Nafly with 1 pick-off. He'll move towards bank while his teammates rotate.
And this is looking quite doable here for Optic Gaming. Finally on time with a rotation, able to try to get in there. Looking to get a wall bang is Nafly, but all it's going to result in his own death. Oh my god, it is absolutely brutal indeed. Just Hayes left, and he can't even find a target to pull his trigger, and that's going to be another round for G2. It looked promising for just a moment, and then all stolen away by the Frenchman.
That is a big 6-0, and we have a timeout from Optic Gaming. They've got 30 seconds to figure out a different approach. Rush hasn't got any kills yet. Tarek's only got 1 kill. Reading from bottom to top, 0, 1, 2, 3, 6. Nafly with 6 kills, so at least he is delivering something, but not much of anything with 0 rounds on the board. This is the buy between the buys when you're at maximum loss bonus. For the most part, they're at $3,500. May see some Kevlar, who knows, maybe we'll even see an over again.
I've got to say, I love to see that kind of play from Kenny S. There's lots of options you could go for in that situation, right? You've got your teammate planting the bomb, it's a 3 versus 3, there's smokes down, you can fall back, you know, you've got that plant for you on toilets, and you know, you can play it passively like that. He didn't bother with that, he just went in straight away, got a kill around the side of the smoke, moved in towards the Optimus truck, then just got another pick off there. It was just basically everywhere, all over the defense, basically 1 versus 3. Kenny S playing an aggressive playstyle, that's the Kenny S that we love to watch, and I can't wait to see more of it as we see Optic now down to measly pistols and a measly UMP, and once again Kenny S is knocking them down. Hazed will be the first to fall from the side of Optic.
It's a curious peek from Hazed, and he is down pretty quickly indeed. Nefly is pretty much bought full grenades. I'm curious to see how he opts to use them. He's in short B at the moment, but there's no one there to entertain. Holding an angle with the 5-7 while G2 play that somewhat standard anti-eco long play. Using the range as much as possible. I think the crowd said it for me there. It's a very nice shot from Kenny S, and in the 7th round of the day, it's pretty bad if you're playing against G2.
Yeah, right now he's making quick work of the G2 players. I think that was a connection as well onto Rush. I believe that it was indeed. Rush is down to 48 health. Even when it looks like Kenny S misses, he is hitting them.
He's only going to grow with power like Ares, God of War or something. 7-0. This is the CT side of Optic. And Thorin did say they were going to get brutalized. So far, he is not incorrect.
Yeah, the money is just outrageous for a G2. I don't think that it's likely we'll see Optic able to I mean, even if they can kind of reset, you know, get some momentum with some rounds and maybe get a reset situation, G2 are just going to be buying and buying and buying. You've got so much in the reserves, but back to the double up for Optic Gaming. I believe that is the way that they could take rounds if their 2-star players could bring about some AWP kills. But here is a very fast challenge for the Shox. Nice entry kill, and a 2 are just dominating.
That's the end of the round. What's he going to do when the end shots are coming for you, Shox and Apex? Apex didn't have the most spectacular of days yesterday, but it's looking on point at the moment, up there with a fair few kills, top of the board. Getting them points as well. So it's pretty much safe territory for Optic. A retake with 2 AWPs. Again, you're looking for an opportunist frag at best, but they're repositioned to try and hold on to what they have.
And it's somewhat of a disadvantage for Optic as well that they played this map yesterday, because obviously G2, they only had to play, you know, the match, one match yesterday as well, and you know, they have this situation where they can study the maps. So it's very easy for them all to sit down as a team and just quickly look at, you know, okay, what is Optic doing at the moment? You know, where do they like to stand? You know, what kind of risk do they like to take on the CT side? What can we expect from them? And so far, G2 have looked like they have read it perfectly. Of course, just with a fast round in that one, just going straight into the B-bomb site, finding 2 players. Even if there's, you know, a couple entry frags from, or rather, sorry, defensive kills from the CTs here, this bomb site's still getting overrun very quickly, and that still gives G2 a very strong position to win the round, even if they lost a couple players.
We got a bus with a bunch of ECS attendees to the venue today, and there were some Optic fans on the bus. If you require tissues for your tears, there may be some near the entrance. 8-0, not looking good at the moment for the North American team. Double ops out again for Optic, and G2, they're just looking for headshots. They're just running in because they can, Dan. 1 man down both sides, but there's no one else in B. They've made the right play again. Is the round over then?
It's crazy, isn't it? Because not only does it seem as though, okay, sure, they're just winning these 1v1s, from a skill perspective, as you would expect. They're just overcoming their opponents in Optic Gaming. But they are, as you say, just picking the right rounds as well. They just know exactly what to do so far, making all the right guesses. And nice nade kill there from kennyS, following it up with the AWP. What do you do against that? Still trying to make it in, though. Nafly will create an opportunity here for Optic as they have a 2 versus 2 on their hands in this after plant. And the grenades are coming in. MBK, though, standing to the challenge. Takes down Mixwell. Up to Naf now. Already 1 kill, goes for the spray. The crazy, desperate attempt, but kennyS comes back in and swiftly deals with any problem.
kennyS cares not for your retake attempts. He will go through the smoke and shoot you in the chest. Why not? Lovely stuff from Kenny. You do wonder if G2 will try to target Hazed, for example. Let's see if they continue to try and abuse the B bomb site. Again, you can see Hazed headed in that direction. No, it's the standard approach from G2, so they may change the pace with Shox going over towards B. Maybe expecting a bolstered defense, and they're not wrong. Now there are 4 people in B, so it seems that G2 are 1 step ahead of Optic Gaming. They're not going very quickly towards A, though, so not necessarily going to capitalize on the positioning, but Optic, starting with 4 people in the B bomb site, they're not really sure. They've got no information around the map, essentially. They have got nobody towards short B. They did have a boost there. They've seen some presence, but apart from that, they don't know what's going on. They are eyes closed.
The way Optic opened, rather G2 opened this round is as though they expected that play, the fountain aggression with the 3 men that we saw Optic go for on their first buy round. That's kind of what G2 I think we're looking for in this round. Obviously, in not seeing it, they can get a lot of information. Okay, okay, we've got long very quickly, very easily. There's no sign of the CTs. They can likely assume that Optic may have Suez control, that they may be playing more players towards B. At this point in time, though, we know that Optic, after a good minute, have decided, okay, what's going on? We haven't seen anything towards B. They're rotating back, and you can see that the timing's working out really well for G2. They're going to be moving in when there's only 2 players to answer for the AB bomb site.
Hazed saw the legs of 1 player walking towards the monster area, so he can raise the alarm to his team, and indeed a 3rd player is rotating in, but will that be enough? G2 sometimes are just too good at the game, just too good with the aim. Mixwell is in a sticky situation. He's got 30 HP, tag's been taken off. He's got 1 kill, but it was a matter of time, surely. No plant either for G2, and that is a big change. With 17 seconds, can the last 2 players hold on? Smokes towards short. Surely he's got to spray and try to stop the bomb from going down, but I don't think he'll be able to. kennyS repositioning. Optic playing around smokes now. They've got no diffuse kits. This is really awkward for the CT side, and now Kenny's alone. He's looking for it, and no scope is there, but Nafly with the MP9. Desperate times for the CT side, but they get their first round on the board.
Both teams fighting to stay in the tournament, fighting for a chance in that trophy. And indeed, it's we can welcome Optic now to the scoreboard. Very dominant G2. I worried for them that it was Shox and kennyS left in the clutch. I mean, that's always a scary prospect, but we can see that Optic...
You could pick any 2 players from G2, and it's a scary prospect at this point.
Absolutely.
Again, the rise of Body, a great addition to the top-tier list of players in French Counter-Strike. But now there's a big test, an even bigger test for Optic. If Optic are to lose this round, they will have no money, and I would not be surprised if it ended up being 14-1. If they lose this round, it's easier for G2 to win the remainder because there'll be nothing for Optic to fight with. So this is a high-pressure situation for the North American team, and they've missed opportunities with that failed boost. Shox is back into short B.
Hate to see it, missing the timing. Could have been a nice opener, needed opener. And speaking of the openings, we've seen this one from G2 previously, where they sent pretty much everybody in connector. This was, I think, around the like 7th or 8th round that we saw it last around that period. And we'll see how it goes this time. As of course, Optic. Last time they had some initial aggression with Mixwell on the AWP. He's actually playing similar positions as to the last time. We'll see if kennyS, like the last time, is able to just open everything up again. He has been so good in this game so far, as expected. Mixwell, though, even though the flash is there from the G2 side, even though they cross their T's and dot their I's, it's still a kill for Mixwell. Very well done. That's exactly what they needed.
And that's exactly what G2 will deliver back. Hazed picked off Mixwell. I don't know if NBK heard his scope, but the flashbang was there, but it's not enough. Seems that Mixwell cannot be stopped by flashbangs in this round. Tarek taking Kenny S out as well. The smoke has missed the Molotov. Surely that was what it was for, but he's relatively safe for the time being. Apex creeping around the smoke, making good timing to pick out Mixwell. Shox making a play into the B bomb site now. Which way will the bomb go?
Back to B there as Shox holds it down, and we can talk about how Shox plays towards the Suez position in a bit as we have this 2 versus 2. It started out so well here for Optic, but again, we talked about the clutch potential of every single player on G2. Now we'll see Apex and Shox in this situation for the defense. Apex starts it off well as Nafla is able to respond there, pushing into the site, takes down Shox. Good initial damage. The nice finish coming in from Naf. Someone has to step it up, and it's going to be Naf this time around. The last man surviving, looking for an AWP. He will find himself a nice shiny Asimov AWP, and he'll get himself a defuse. A very important second round one. However, everybody died apart from Naf for Optic, so they are going to be hard pressed to have the fullest of buys in this situation.
It's a great shimmy to win that duel. Just wants the spray to move a bit further away from the head and then come back in there, or just try and make it awkward for Apex. And Nafly, again, very important big game player for Optic, showing why he's on the team. 11 kills for him at the moment, but only 2 rounds for Optic. They survived the first test. They've survived that crucial round that would have crushed half of them if they'd lost it. So now we can see if they can make it a 6-9 scoreline. Nafly keeping an eye on short B at the moment, but Shox is starting late towards that area. There were some grenades thrown, but nobody there to meet them. G2 with a renewed focus towards the upper area. They'll look to clear out the toilets and try to win some duels. Optic starting to move back slowly, but Tarek's in a forward position and he's isolated.
Yeah, we saw previously how aware G2 are of those positions, how they triple-naded it previously. This time it's just a dry peek from multiple players. Mixwell, can he get another shot off? It won't be the case. One and done for him as G2 make their way very, very quickly into that A bomb site. The rotation is making its way quickly over, but Nafly can't buy the additional time that's required to stop these G2 players from taking over the bomb site in the most dominant of fashions, and instead Optic are in a situation that now they have decisions to make. It looks like they're going to go for this one. He's finding position just behind the smoke, though it will dissipate now, but it's a very scary plant to deal with. It's the one which can be protected by the toilets. Great boost, though. Kenny is not expecting that one. A forward smoke here. This is on right now for Optic.
Hazed and Rush. Rush has a kit, Hayes doesn't, and there is Hayes eliminated. And Rush is not far behind, so the round goes to G2. There was a really awkward rotation for Optic Gaming. Mixwell making his way around long to try and offer some support to Tarek, who was left in isolation towards toilets. But Tarek got picked off before Mixwell could get there, and then Mixwell was at the point of no return, and a numbers game pretty much guaranteed a trade towards long. So that made it really hard for Optic. Early disadvantages. 10-2, and you see what it has done to the money of Optic. Even though they got that consecutive round, it wasn't enough for them. This time Shox starts fast, and there is that grenade again.
Yeah, nice timing there from Optic. It wasn't quite spot on, but it is very difficult. There is an element of luck required, and we'll see if this long play can actually work out for Optic. Obviously they are stuck on some pistols, but pistols are very good in this game. So you never know what could happen. Nafly caught between 2 players. Shox pushing the position that he always likes to take. And he takes his spot in a lot of rounds. And often when his team goes towards A with numbers, he'll be in that position. It gives them a contingency if something goes wrong. Able to take entries into the B bomb site, as Shox loves to do. Tarek finding himself in an awkward position here in the playgrounds. The playground is close for business. Kenny S will be able to take Tarek down, leaving just Rush and Hayes now. And G2, they don't actually know exactly where these last 2 players can be. They haven't had as much map control as perhaps they would like. Although it does look like NBK has an inkling as to what Hayes was doing. And now they know that the B-bomb side is likely very safe to occupy. They'll move in there with numbers. I'm amazed they haven't lost a player yet. That's actually incredible.
So is the scoreline, unless you're an Optic Gaming fan. 11-2 is soon en route. It's hard to not see this being a 13-2 half at the moment. So, and this is a CT side of Optic, which is pretty crazy. You wonder if this is already a write-off for the American side, but it's never over until it's over. But G2, they are looking like an insurmountable force for Optic on Overpass. Again, Inferno is the second map of this best of 3. But just the sheer firepower, G2, they're just abusing their individual skill. Just strafing out of corners with multiple players. You might kill one of us, but trade is all but guaranteed. Headshots galore from the French players. And again, the first map of this series, and kennyS is already going nuclear with the AWP.
All right, so is there to be something, well, some consolation rounds at the end here for Optic to just give them an ability to have a second half? If they're stuck on 2 and they lose that pistol, it's pretty much an open and closed case for Overpass. So we'll see whether they can get it done with less than desirable equipment. We've got a scout play UMP, and some pistols as well to go along with that. So scary times here for Optic. G2 again sending Shox quickly towards the sewers. I'd imagine he'd likely go in towards the corner where we see him usually go. Just getting some early information for his team whilst they play passively towards A. They go for a pop flash, though, to try to get some information, get a kill, and they'll be able to pick up an AK. So that's a very good result here for Optic, taking down Shox in this way. And also, if you kill Shox alone there, you actually know in most cases that G2 are going to be playing most players towards A. So a rotation of 3 players towards A will come in from Optic. It's the right response.
But what have they got to fight with? An AK, a UMP, pots and pans. Ooh. Now fly with a kill with the AK, and he's still alive. One of the more potent plays in terms of output, in terms of firepower on the Optic Gaming side, but we're asking too much of him at the moment. Desperate times for Tarik with the scout, but Body is vulnerable to that scout at the moment. And NBK is not far off. I think he might actually, yeah, I think they both are. So there's definitely a round 2 play for Tarik spotting the headshot. There we go. Rush now with full health will get a 3rd round on the board for Optic. Let's see where he can collect. An AWP will be nice. There's not much else for Optic to get from this round other than a 3rd round on the board. And you can see those are not faces of confidence.
And the 3rd one is of course, like the most critical. It allows you that if you lose that pistol round, you can at least save a round and have something to work with. If you're stuck on 2, it just looks so horrible. You don't really get anything at all to work with if you are to lose the pistol. So we'll see whether or not Optic can get number 4 on the board here and make their lives a little bit easier into that second half. Although how easy can it really be when you're up against the G2 Esports? We'll see. Looking forward to seeing what the approach is here from G2. Ooh, might be actually a fast play in towards the sewers here from G2. Let's have a look. We've got 3 players initially on the defense for Optic Gaming in B. Perhaps expecting one of those very fast contact plays, which we have seen previously from G2. Whenever Optic seem to be doing a bit better, they just hit them with something very fast.
Bard off smoke, Dan.
Although they're actually waiting at the moment.
If that smoke was on your other side of Monster, maybe they would have walked through with a flashbang. But Bard off smoke stop them from that scenario. You're welcome. You're welcome, guys. 1 minute 15, and indeed they start to creep through the Monster tunnel, and they are successful. Shox holding the angle of the rush, but Mixwell still on the site. No one on short B right now, so he's got some time trying to buy himself more, trying to reposition. He knows he was exposed to short B. He has to fall back. Tarik making his way through the toilets, but he's being flanked by kennyS in the meantime. And Apex are on the site. Tarik's trapped. This round is falling apart for Optic.
And this, again, shows you the strength of G2 with 2 players. They can pull almost a full rotation. Naf, though, still doing some additional work. They're taking down Apex, but the A bomb site is in control of kennyS at the moment, and he awaits Shox's arrival with that bomb, as kennyS is now putting some more forward pressure, understanding that most of Optic Gaming were really believing that it was going to be a B play. And look at the angle he has. Oh. He will whiff there, but I think he saw both players, and he can still play with his smoke. He can play to delay these players, and also Shox can come in to give him a hand. They know and have perfect information on where these 2 players is, and indeed, Shox will make his way in. Misses the shot. There's opportunity now. Optic could very well claim this 4th round in this 2 versus 1. How does Shox save this situation? Opting to go close to the smoke, close to the stairs. As the smoke goes away. Oh, misses the no-scope. Can he get anything to hit? Has to pull out the P250 here. Looking very desperate. Shot in the back of the head. And that is a very rare few whiffs you're going to see from Kenny and Shox with the AWP, allowing a 4th round in the first half, but still a dominant half from G2.
Yeah, but at least Optic, they have themselves one bubble of air to breathe with. They've got an opportunity, but it's going to be crucial that they win the pistol. A dominating half so far from G2, 11-4. Could have been much worse for the Optic Gaming side, but indeed, 4 rounds, it's something. It is something, but now they're against the CT side of G2. A CT side, again, infamous brutality on the pistol at the Season 1 finals. Will it continue here? The pistol has gone live, so let's go into the game and find out what they have to offer us. Shox not going on the high ground this time, and in fact, they're pretty much all in the B bomb side. They've got a hard read on Optic's play, and they're correct.
It's looking really good here for the G2 side. Kenny starts things off well. MBK chiming in as well. Shox, everybody getting a piece of the action here from G2 as the Optic members start to run low. 2 players left, and now it's none. The pistol round, as Optic feared, is in the hands of G2 on this second half.
So MBK's face is almost like, I can't believe we all went B and it worked. And they had one person just chilling on A. Maybe disconnected his keyboard, but you got to have balls to make calls like that, man. I feel like a lot of teams will just be like, oh, but what about the rest of the map and something? He's like, hard reads. They're using a numbers game to try and fight our higher level of skill. Let's just go B and wreck him. And he was right.
The A bomb site is the harder one to retake. Normally, it's like you do it the reverse. So yeah, you're absolutely right.
Full spy from Optic. The Tech 9s are out. See those long magazines of the Tech 9. Optic moving in towards short B. There's one flash on Shox, who is in the B bomb site, but that's it. So he better use that wisely if he chooses to use it. He may just want to keep his gun up. There's a gap in the smoke. He spots a player. That's Mixwell dead. Bomb being planted. Nice 180 from Shox, holding down the real estate for his side and repositioning into short B, making smart plays. It'll get taken down eventually. Kenny Body, though, will gain revenge. Now Nafly spotted on short B. CTs can take him out and get their defuse game on. 13-4 in favor of G2.
Yeah, lovely stuff from Shox there. Definitely redeeming himself after the whiffed AWP shots, which I'm sure he'll be lamenting and wouldn't have expected to miss, unlike him, but great stuff with the UMP there. I love how he's like, he knew the guy was in the smoke. Obviously, someone just planted the bomb, so there had to be. And I love how he's like looking for that player after he killed the first 2 and giving his team ample opportunity to get in there. So 13-4. Optic, at the very least, did get the bomb planted, though, so that is some additional cash to be used later on. Have to see how they decide to use that money. But it will be pistols again for now, seeing what damage they can do to G2's economy in this one. The Eagles are so strong in this game at the moment. A lot of professional players are getting incredibly good with that gun, and it is a one-shot kill at any range. Oh, speaking of which, Tarek coming in from the back, up the connector, up the stairs, but G2 with a nice response there. In this pressured situation, Apex against multiple opponents can't survive, and that's an advantage for the Optic.
Yeah, they've got themselves some rifles, but what they don't have is Kevlar, which means aim punch. But now it's a 1 versus 3. Shox has a UMP. That will be enough to kill these players, but he needs the element of surprise because the numbers are not with him. Optic have no idea where Shox is. They've got over 1 minute with which to find out. They can send scouts ahead of the bomb, but they will want to use a numbers game and try to trade where they can. Shox, ooh, he's making the right decision, because look where the T's are headed. Shox will roll out the red carpets. There's one. Cannot continue to spray, though, despite the lack of Kevlar. And the round goes with Optic. They've picked themselves up 2 M4s and they'll buy AKs around them. G2 buying as well. And for the most part, they've got money for the rifles. So Shox will be back on the UMP. Apart from that, they're all good in the hood. So this is a very important round for Optic Gaming.
I wonder what would have happened had Shox been maybe a few seconds later, if they'd all be down the stairs. If he just kind of sprays them all down, would be very interesting. Of course, this is a game of very small margins, is CSGO. And we'll see G2 think about those early rush timings. That is a beautiful way to start the round out. I think the grenade to destroy the door and the follow-up spray from MBK to pull out an early round advantage. And G2 will have an expectation as to how Optic on the T side will respond when they lose someone early, because generally, you want to take it very differently on the T side as opposed to when you have 5 players. If you lose someone early, you don't want to necessarily risk another player in a picking situation. A lot of teams just go to a set-piece execution of smokes onto a bomb site straight away. That's what we're going to see from G2, from Optic, and G2 are ready for it.
Apex trying to nade anybody by that headshot position. Optic are pretty close over. NBK is doing the job while Apex repositions. He's got a teammate on the site, Kenny, looking for a cheeky frag. Sees the shadow, but it's not enough for him. Apex, he needs help. He's got one player on the stairs who can maybe hold down the Optimus position, but it seems that G2 are struggling to hold down the A sites at all. Body on the flank. Shox, he needs to run distraction without it being too obvious that he is baiting for his teammate. Body playing the information game, knows where one is. Oh, nice spray from Body, nice burst. He's good for the 3K as well. Hello.
Body's so scary in clutches, man. There's so many times where I've seen him just play it perfectly. Like, again, I talked about small margins. You can't mistime this, how long he is actually looking for these frags. Beautiful as well, like just on that third kill, able to kind of react, moving away from that player, still get that insane flick with the great first bullet accuracy. Body is an absolute beast, and you can see why G2 have been doing so well of late. And now Optic are in a little bit of trouble. They're going to force buy it up. A couple Tech 9s here. We're going to see likely a fast B play. Body going for information towards the sewer. It's a very, very good play. It's going to be accompanied by a flash, a double kill, a triple kill. Body doesn't stop. One more left for Body to claim for the ace. He won't get it, but he's done more than enough for his team. One flashbang and 4 players fall.
That is absolutely disgusting, it must be said. And that's the, you roll off the names of your tongue from G2. You've got more famous players already on the team, but Body, Jesus. That is nasty stuff. What a great flashbang, though. Yeah. Let's not forget, his team are putting him in the position to make these great plays. That 180 is superb. But the flash from the team allowed him to get the first 2 kills. Yep. Again, really nice stuff. G2, they're not just players, they are a unit. And they put Body in a position to show us what he can do. Game point. It is best of 3 day today. Game point for G2 on Overpass, 15-5. Optic only has pistols to offer.
It's very scary, isn't it? Again, I didn't mention how good pistols are, but I mean, if we look at how the pistols work here, we've got 3 Tech 9s, so they're good at covering distances. Moving accuracy is strong, so you can cover ground in the bomb site quickly. You've got a Deagle in the mix as well to get those long-range pickoffs, to try to get some good body shots, do some extra damage. See, though, Body is looking for answers here to the question of what is going on, and he's going to get 2 kills. Body, NBK, and Shox delivering quite the defense here. And they won't lose a single man. What a statement there for G2 to say at the beginning of this series today. Optic are in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, and G2, they were one of your favorites to win this tournament.
Yes,
and they are definitely sending a statement to the rest of their opponents. Optic not going to be their strongest opponent of this tournament, but that is definitely a great way to kick things off. Very dominating scoreline to start off the day, and that's going to be a shock to the system as well. For Optic, it's their first game of the day. They're in a best of 3 series. They can put it past them, but psychologically you can't just let go of such a dominating performance from your opponent.
Yeah, I mean, G2, they look very prepared. They look like they're very confident on the stage today. Kenny is taking aggressive plays, Body getting in the action. Everything going according to plan so far. It was quite a display. I mean, we were treated, I think, to a lovely series of shots there from the likes of Kenny and Body, and they were actually the 2 standouts as well at ESL Pro League finals when G2 won against North. So it's a taste of what's to come, I think. Inferno is going to be scary as well.
Indeed, another very interesting map between these 2 teams is to come. But first, there will be a short break. Join us after the break for map 2 of this best of 3 series. If you're a fan of crutches, then get your hands on this. But now let's focus on an even greater product, Taser.com, a competitive gaming platform.
Wow, James, that sure sounds amazing.
It is amazing, Dan. On Taser, you can find the toughest dudes in the galaxy.
I heard it's got all these great features for real gaming.
Yes, it has, Dan. Like a voice communication system. Just post one to your friends.
Wow, James, that sure is cutting-edge technology.
Radios must be within a 10-metre straight line with clear line of sight and sunny weather with no wind.
Do you keep getting wrecked by hacker noobs online? Introducing new Taser security system.
Wow, it's so lightweight. It feels like there's nothing inside.
That's correct, Dan, but there's more.
Behavioural index to keep you from playing with idiots. An easy way to send in your results. Multiple game titles. And here you can see a happy customer.
It's great!
If you sign up within the next 4 minutes, you will get these items for free. James White's best Christmas songs. Watermelon signed by Dan Black.
Fan är det här?
Welcome to Sounds of CSGO.
We're here at Battlefield Vegas, and it's time to find another gun to shoot.
Let's do it.
Battlefield Vegas. Tyler.
Dan. James.
I'll be your range safety officer today. Follow me to the back. We'll go check out the vault.
Sounds good.
Right this way.
Alright guys, welcome to the main vault here at Battlefield Vegas. As you can see, we have a wide selection of firearms. Is there any weapon in particular you're interested in?
P90.
P90. We have P90s here. We have a couple P90s.
How familiar are you with the P90?
Use it to crush noobs online.
Well, that's one of its many purposes. How much do you know about the P90?
Crush noobs a bit.
Alright, very well. You?
Not much. I mean, in the game, it's a really inaccurate gun, so I don't actually tend to use it very much. Is it the same way?
No, in real life it is actually very, very accurate. Very small bullet, traveling very fast, low recoil, very easy to crush noobs.
I know it's ambidextrous.
It is completely ambidextrous. Ambidextrous charging handle, ambidextrous mag releases, and ambidextrous selector wheel here.
Dan loves wheels, wagon wheels, wheels on a bus go round and round, biscuits, all the wheels.
Everyone has their own preferences. But who wants to shoot this weapon first?
He has no right to shoot a P90. This is me all day.
All right, let's go ahead and do this.
James.
Let's do that.
All right, your P90. All you're gonna do, right hand, right thumb through the thumb hole. Fingers round, finger nice and straight till you're ready to fire. Left hand, left thumb through the other thumb hole. Fingers round behind that backstop. From there, around your shoulder, little forward lean, cheek all the way down on the weapon. Use that Night Force optic and that 2-stage trigger to go automatic. Sound good?
Yep.
All right, let's do it.
Good.
Pretty light shooting weapon, pretty easy to fire. Like I said, PDW weapon, so it's compact and it shoots at mid-size rounds.
Well, James, you finally shot the P90, your beloved P90. How does it stack up against the one in the game?
It was very satisfying in real life. It's always a joy to spray down some noobs online, but the sound in real life, it's more rifle-like, and I guess it's different in the game, so you can better identify what weapon is what. So much better in real life. Very nice to fire as well, especially when you pull the trigger hard enough to get that automatic fire going, then it's really fun.
it definitely sounded a lot more aggressive, which is, I guess, to be expected. But that about does it for the P90, guys. We can tick that gun off the list. If you have any suggestions as to what gun we should shoot next, please let us know. And if you have any improvements or general feedback, we'd love to hear from you in the comments. But that's it. We'll see you next time.
I can feel your energy pulsating down my spine. Oh, I am not the enemy. No need to run and hide. No. But as the night draws near, we are animals of fear. Feels so cold inside my head. And as the sun comes up, we are always out of luck. There's no room for us here. It's a cold-blooded break each other's hearts. It's a cold-blooded love. It's a cold-blooded love. Helps us break each other's hearts. It's a cold-blooded love. Break each other's hearts. It's a cold-blooded love. It's a cold-blooded love. Helps us break each other's hearts. 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 It's a cold-blooded love.
इस रमजान ईदी में बांटिए मुस्कान। बस वेस्टर्न यूनियन द्वारा पैसे पाइए और 51,000 रुपए जीतकर इस त्योहार की
impacts the momentum on the G2 side. Apex get away from the flashbang. 2 kills for him. Maker 3. Apex at 4 kills and the bomb. Can he get the ace? Even shooting his teammates, he'll kill anything at this point to get the ace.
Long range. Oh, there's the flick. So he's still unable to get control around the statue for the plant. Minute left to go. 50 in the thick of it. Oh my god, this guy is going absolutely nuts at the moment. Oh!
Was it undone? Hadn't left with my mom. Say, what will you do with your life? You know it's hard to survive. A cigar in my mouth. Maybe guilty but proud. Now I'm an outlaw on the run. Dangerous, but it's so fun. Running, running low. Hold on, don't let go. Running, running low. Keep running low.
They are spreading all over the place. Neptune doesn't know what hits him. Fer is annihilating everyone. 3 headshots for Fer. He's like, oh, I like pistols. Here's some pistols. Here's some more.
Oh my god, Fer, please stop. He could very well kill them before they get the bomb down. Oh, the timing though from Oscar. Now there's a chance.
This time Fox is going to surely win the round for his team. They can't make the same mistake again. 4 seconds remaining to find it. Again, it's happened again! How?
Will he be able to win the round without any comrades? One player creeping from fence. It's all about the timing, isn't it? There's the spot. Good jump. It served its purpose. One more player jumping for the... Oh, nice shot straight onto the legs there as he hops up onto the side. 50. Oh, that is absolutely unreal. What a shot this guy definitely picked up for a reason.
For map 2, which is going to be Inferno. We'll see if Optic can get back into this game. Not sure if they were here to begin with, though.
Yes, it was a very rough start for them. The few rounds that they did get, they looked desperate. I mean, G2 whiffed a couple of shots here and there, but that's okay considering that the vast majority of shots that they are throwing at Optic are connecting in quite a violent way and a very impactful way as well. Kenny, yes, he's not giving them any room to breathe. He's being aggressive whenever he can. We have clutches from pretty much everybody. I mean, you talked about it previously. Moving into Inferno, I think we can expect a lot of double orbs, and with already having such a dominant map 1, I feel like that's just going to spur G2 on even more to take even more risk. And well, I hope so at least, because it's just so fun to watch, isn't it? How can you not be a fan of G2 in that sense?
Yes, and I do wonder what the way back into this match is, or the way into this match is for the Optic side, because you can't really out-aim G2. You don't have a complete team. You know, the in-game leader is a massive question mark at the moment for the Optic side. So, where do you find an advantage? You know, we see as a unit G2 on their CT side with flashing in for body, then he's just wrecking fools as he so pleases. Like, where is the weakness in a G2 side for Optic to exploit on Inferno?
Well, I feel very bad that you asked me that question, because I really can't find an answer. I don't think that there is an easy answer for that one. I think it's going to obviously take just amazing individual performances from the Optic guys. Obviously, it's some very Captain Obvious answer. They're going to have to play their basics because, as you said, the leadership at the moment has been a question. There has been some turmoil in that sense, so they need to rely on the basics, and that's something that G2 do very well also. So we'll see if something can happen here for Optic. They can deliver on the stage if they themselves can start to peak a bit. These are a lot of these players have played to a very high level and have actually overperformed in many tournaments in the past. As Rachel said, when the Optic came up onto the stage, they've been able to actually win a bunch of tournaments in the past. some of these players. Of course, not the same lineup. Previously, they had Stanislaw at the helm, who was the leader, who was essentially who is the missing piece now. Ever since he left the lineup, they've been trying to desperately sort of fill that gap that Stanislaw left, considering that they were a really successful team back when Stan was on the lineup. So, but these players, they can perform. And you never know when it's going to come as well. Like players like Naf and Rush and so on.
Yeah, so Optic, they won the knife. They're going to start on the CT side, which should be kicking off imminently. He's having a final chat, as you can see there. He's perhaps talking about their approach in the pistol round, what they can expect from G2. G2 certainly had some expectations of Optic. Again, on Overpass, we've seen that G2 were always a step ahead. They seemed to know what Optic were going to do before Optic did it. Every big play that Optic attempted, it seemed G2 were on the other side of that play, exploiting the holes and the risks that were taken. So I think Banana's going to be a very interesting question, how G2 approach it on the T side and how Optic deal with it. I think it's going to be a big question. Do they end up putting 3 people towards the B-bomb side at the beginning of rounds? Are they going to try some aggressive takes with grenades and smokes? Lots to find out once this gets underway.
At the very least, as far as Banana's concerned, Optic are a team in North America. They're used to playing the likes of Cloud9. Cloud9 has Stewie. Stewie does horrible things to people on Banana, so they're going to be at least used to what an aggressive play style can look like, even from one player in particular on the Banana area, and how you have to deal with that from a tactical perspective, like the kinds of grenades you need to use, like what kind of investment you want to use to deal with that efficiently, because you never want to overinvest. If you overinvest in your utility as CT side, that's where the T's get a really big edge on a map like Inferno. So looks like we are live into the game. Can this be the map in which Optic can come back into the series, or will we see a repeat of map 1? Will G2 continue to dominate?
Apex waiting at bottom of Banana while the rest of the team charge in towards A. And we talked about G2 being one step ahead, and Optic have been caught now in CT. The numbers game working out for those T's so far. Mixwell trying to hold down CT spawn, but it's only good for the 1 kill. Nafly on the rotation from A. Tarek at the bottom of Banana, and Rush moving into construction. Optic, they can make this work. They could have a crossfire between Rush and Tarek now. He's at the top of Banana. The remaining 3 players from G2, 2 of which have USPs. They'll have that extra headshot advantages evened out. Tarek taking some shots, Rush in the full position, running out of bullets though. Tarek at least gets a kill, down to a 2-on-2.
Yeah, very doable situation here as they move in with the USPs. Oh, that's not good though. Tarek is to go down, and Shox has a bullet with Nat's name on it. So the first round will go to G2, and as you said, it's a cool pistol round to see. You don't often see that one. Just going straight through CT spawn like that. I like it a lot. And we'll see G2 once again starting with that advantage. They've won all pistol rounds so far. I believe that's 3 of 3. Shox just getting in there, doing all kinds of damage.
All kinds.
All kinds of damage. It's a great round from him. Now, what is Optic going to do? This is one of the scarier maps insofar as, let's say the terrorist side position of dealing with a force buy. There's all kinds of close range engagements that the CTs can find. And in fact, the Julies, I'm never really a fan personally of the Julies, but we'll see how well it can be utilized by Naf, and he's going to go down straight away. Great flashbang there. You can see, again, G2 very well prepared, very focused right now, not missing those crucial flashbangs. And now Optic know where the G2 side is going, but how much is that going to help them?
Yeah, they're not really fighting with much. USPs, the CZ, Tarek holding range with the scout, but the T's are getting into position already. And they can re-smoke if they want to. I say that, but Apex is actually with the smoke towards A. But frags are always good, and frags are what G2 are dishing out at the moment. 3 players very heavily tagged. Hayes, how much does he have to lose here? He's got 12 bullets. But it won't help him anymore. Down he goes. Optic, they haven't won any CT pistols just yet. That's not a great start to either map.
And the thing here as well is that G2 were able to run an anti-force buy where they only lost 1 player, which is honestly, especially on a map like this, it's a very good result. And that's going to be amazing because they actually killed all the players from Optic as well. Optic weren't able to save anything, so that's a really big problem for Optic. They don't have any real additional chance to do damage. They have 3 HEs in this round, so again, I talked about how it can be very difficult to time these correctly. They're going to toss them in straight away. G2 are going for a rush here into the Banana position, and Shox is going to take a lot of damage, down to 21 health, and that might set them up
or set Optic up, that is, for a quick kill onto Shox, but he might respond by just playing at the back lines now as his teammates go into the A site. He'll let them do all the damage. Some headshots connected here, but again with the USP, you need a couple headshots at a decent range to get that to actually end up being fatal. And the bomb will be planted here, and more players for Optic will slowly fall as the money is made by the G2 side. And there it is. Tarek able to finish off one of the weakened players. Can he find anything else, though? Another good start for G2, that's for sure.
Tarek may try to steal a weapon once the round is over, but G2 will know that as well. And Kenny is there to clean things out and deny him the privilege. 3-0. A big fat 3-0 for G2. Off to a good start once again, and now it's buy time. Mixwell straight onto the AWP. Getting some armor as well. This is not a good map to be AWP, no armor. There was a period of time where Kenny would almost be guaranteed, once they lost the pistol, to start AWP no armor, but with these tighter and tighter maps, you can be very exposed to grenades in positions where you might take up an angle. There are some options on like CTA, but they are passive, like in the library, for example, not the most ideal place to start out. So you definitely want to keep your economy in check for that armor and AWP on the buy round. G2 showing initial presence, taking initial map control. They've been denied banana. Optic have managed to get their smoke grenade down there, and Mixwell will be holding things down on his own. And G2 early, they put the numbers in apartments, make sure Optic are back, and look how far back Optic are. They've got 3 people playing deep in the A bomb site, which means they've got no information apart from Mixwell towards B. But if he is forced away, then Optic are playing. Essentially, they are just subject to the wishes and wills of G2. They have no idea where G2 might be going.
Yeah, G2 with that late banana control. Optic slowly feeling it out. Now they know 3 players still on the A-bomb site. 3 players still on the A-bomb site, now starting to move them. If G2 get fast frags, that could be everything. The pop flash play through the smoke, denied by Body, as Mixwell goes back into safer areas. Wow, nice kill from Mixwell, finding Kenny through the smoke and still holding on to the construction position. This does allow his teammates to have 2 avenues of attack back into the bomb site. As Mixwell goes to the peak, 2 players on the angle. What a beautiful setup there from G2. And now it's Apex going for the peak. He's going to meet 2 players of Optic. Good information there for the G2 side as they anticipate, or at least Shox anticipates, a potential push through that smoke. But it looks like Optic feel as though they cannot do any more. There's too great a risk, and they'd rather just carry these guns into the next round.
I love the positioning from the T's, the post-plant positioning in construction. They're making it as hard as possible for Optic to take fights with them. And again, especially with the AWP there, which they might not know at the time, but they're almost guaranteed a trade the way they're positioned. Glorious stuff. A lot of ECS fans here today. Day 1 of the live portion of the finals here at the SSE Arena in Wembley, London. 4-0. A mirror of overpass, and that does not bode well for Optic. They've still got to buy, however, around what they saved. Mixwell still on the AWP. But again, I wonder if Optic played so passively from the beginning because their economy wasn't just yet in the right place, or if they're giving their opponent respect. But again, I think it's going to be very hard to... I mean, at this point, whatever they choose to do, it's going to be difficult to try and survive against G2.
Ooh, G2 actually looking to go for a faster play in this round. Everybody geared up for an A set piece execution. Let's see if the smokes are going to do the job here for G2 as they switch up the pace from slow to a very aggressive start into round 5. Now this forces the CTs very passively into the site, isolating themselves. Hayes with the spray down. With the help of Rush, they'll get 2 on the defense. Looking very good, lining up for Hayes. Another one for him as he has stepped in now for Jason. Doing a good job in this defense so far. And now G2 are in desperation mode. How do they save this round? They have time at the very least, but they do not have the numbers. This is going to come down to big individual plays as Kenny will get shot in the back by Tarek. And now it's down to Apex. A fine one, but he'll quickly be traded by Mixwell. And that attack shut down by Optic.
First round on the board, an early-ish round for the Optic side. And now they go to 2 AWPs. Nafly currently wielding the second one. Again, sometimes you see Tarek, sometimes you see Naf on the AWP. Perhaps it's map dependent, maybe field dependent. So both AWPs are, no, excuse me, Nafly's going towards B, Mixwell is headed towards short A at present. So I don't think he's going to be peeking down mid. And again, G2 sending the numbers towards the apartments to get their early map control and potentially some early frags should the CTs dare to go in there. We don't see the CT present in apartments like we used to on old Inferno. Fnatic, perhaps one of the more notorious teams for the plays in apartments. Inferno has gone through changes and some things are more difficult than they used to be.
Now, the interesting thing for me as well is if G2, you know, they try to run a similar play, they use it as a fake, or maybe they just go with it again. Because it may be that they feel like, guys, we put ourselves in a position to win the round there. We just didn't hit the shots, or we didn't perform correctly. That could be the case. Let's see if they can do a better job this time. The second go of it, catching Mixwell. That's a good way to do it. And actually, they're going to be cutting off the site in half with smokes. This is problematic so far for Optic Gaming. Unable to really get the frags that they need to hold this down. But do G2 still understand that there's a player on the bomb site? Rush could do a lot of damage from this position. If that's not the case, there's one, but quickly traded. Shock's in position and ready to go. And speaking of going, it's going to be Naf who's going back to the B-bomb site to save his AWP. So G2 running the same round pretty much, and this time a very different result.
Wall of smokes, Mixwell isolated, gambling around the cart, taking a position to take out any wide players on short, but no, they made their way towards the site and took him out in his blind spots. So that immediate reset from Optic Gaming doesn't look good for the North Americans. AWP should be saved moving into the next round, but there's not much else going on for them at the moment. They will get $1,900 for losing this round, and they don't have much cash in the coffers. So G2 will be cruising. They'll be on autopilot for the next round or two.
I really like it when teams, you know, have this situation where where they don't just think, oh, we did it once and it didn't work, so I guess it just doesn't work then, and they don't go to that round again. And sometimes teams actually do something where they go to run and it works, and they get kind of afraid to run it again because the other team's thinking, oh, they did this round, it was really good against us, so we expect that now. And that's not often going to be the case. So great to see that they still run these A executions and they had success with it. And this makes things very ambiguous from Optic Gaming as well, because right now it feels as though for G2 everything can work still. They have an answer for a multitude of situations. Nafly getting into a forward position, but every time we see that Molotov there from G2 to deny the forward AWPing, and well, here come the entry frags.
Yeah, they know the AWP is towards B. They know they don't have the money to buy much else or to buy around it really, because only one player survived, so they can just start charging towards A. But as time continues, the chances of the AWP rotating increase. G2 do not need to take any unnecessary risks. Nafly near a position that Fox made notorious for the longest time, going back to DreamHack Cluj. Not what it used to be anymore on Banana. Times have changed.
One cool thing as well that we're seeing every round from G2 is that Molotov that's very deep onto the kind of car position, where essentially you deny the forward angle from the AWPer. And one thing about that is, against a team like G2, if you're in Optic's position, you don't want to just at some point re-peek that position after the Molotov goes away, because that could be an angle that's now held by an AWPer from G2. You have to throw a flashbang with it, and that's some, if there's a player from G2 at the bottom of Banana, they're going to hear that flashbang, they're going to understand you're going to retake that angle, they can understand sort of how you're rotating, how your setup is, and right now we see it's an attempt for killing this AWPer, not a fully committed one from G2, still want to keep their economy in good stead, only investing one player in finding Naf. And they won't be successful in taking him down. But I am interested to see how this dynamic on Banana will play out as G2 continue to pressure it and continue to force a CT side to invest utility, even if it's just a couple extra flashbangs, in getting it back after they throw that Molotov. So a 6-1 scoreline. It's another great start for G2 on that T side. They can absolutely dictate the pace, and that's what they've been doing. And so far, Optic have been bending, or have been bended to their will. And this time a very fast play into Banana. This time Nafly, instead of receiving a Molotov, that's a direct flash. And he has to fall all the way back. Tarek, though, going to meet the push. A quick frag for him as his teammate will flash him back into safety. And that's a good result. Oh my God, that's an outrageous peek there from Body, taking Nafly down in an instant with that AK-47. And again, he does not stop. Another frag from Body to get into the bomb site. G2 have unlocked this B bomb site, but will they be able to hold it down for longer?
The CT's very close to the site as the bomb goes down. The smoke disappearing from the front. CTs have got a lot to do. They've got a lot of grenades, actually, to come in for this push. They've got a Molotov that might go towards Apex's position if they can find an angle, but the flashes are there for the T side, and this Body once again looking to do the damage. CTs are being delayed. They haven't got a kill yet in this retake. Slowly creeping in. They're going to save what they can and make a break for it. Hayes doesn't want to take that fight. Got to get out of there. Save whatever he can hold on to. 7-1 in favor of G2.
Oh, poor Apex will fall to the detonation there, but Body will collect the AWP. And he earned it after those two very swift entry frags. Body, a man that can do it all, James. A man that can do it all. Can AWP, can entry, can play the low, can play the clutch, can do pretty much whatever you ask him to do. And so far, success has been had for the G2 side. And where will Optics rounds actually come from? Do they have to go for, heavy banana pressure? Do they have to try to play, the information game in a more invested way like that? That's one thing that they haven't gone to just yet. They've been fairly passive on banana, easily giving it up when G2 throw a few grenades. Oh, G2 walking the apartments here. Something a bit more common in this new edition of Inferno, which is much harder for the CTs to hold.
T's charging in. Rush with a great angle for the first kill, but he didn't stop NBK, who tries to clean up, but can only do so much. Double pick from the CTs will be good for another kill, and Shock's down to 4 HP. Problems, he can't escape. Tarek around the corner with the Deeg. Apex 15 HP. Might be a question of damage at this point. If he can take some of these weapons away, make Optic take less into the next round, although of course he's going to look for the win, but with 15 points of health, we might be asking a bit much. Tarek with the overkill headshot with the Deagle for the second round for Optic. And again, they managed to save a fair bit. So maybe they stand a fighting chance to claw some rounds back. G2 are coming full force once again. Kenny on the sniper, and the AKs are also in play. Full grenades, full everything for the G2. They've got everything they want. Optic starting with 3 people towards A. No peek down mid, save for the high explosive grenades. And the grenades, of course, will be deployed down Banana as well. No smokes just yet, though. There we go. So Optic, they've managed to secure Banana as well. And I think that is going to be important for their CT rounds, although they're still not winning many.
Yeah, and this is the adjustment I wanted to see them try, to have more pressure there. Again, it gives you more information as to what's going on, and you kind of put a challenge to G2, and you say to G2 that, look at all this information that we have on the map right now. Do you guys want to actually challenge us for this, or are you going to allow us to understand that you're going to go towards A? And if you do go towards B, we're going to have a lot of time to react and get people in position. That's generally what this is the CT's doing, just setting that challenge to the Ts. And it looks like G2 are going to be happy to actually answer for this challenge. We might see a flash through this, indeed, as they start to rush down Tarek's position. Now, Tarek has to make sure that he's able to survive in this position. He can't allow himself to get picked off too quickly. We'll see if that happens. Goes for the big engagement, gets picked off almost immediately, but now you can see that the Ts can just easily get into the bomb site. They don't have to worry about him hiding in the site, and maybe give, let's say, Mixwell a chance to perhaps get in a quick shot before the smokes go down. Let's see, though, if Optic can still save the day. They've got players coming from Banana as well as from CT.
Yeah, Shock's holding down Banana at present. Can't get a second kill, but the numbers game is still even for G2, and it's them in the post-plant positions. Body popping up, but Mixwell's ready for it, so perhaps there's another round on the board here for Optic Gaming, but Apex with the off angle takes him by surprise. He's got flashbangs up, Kenny as well. Kenny looking away. Great timing there from G2, working again as a unit, and now it's down to Hayes, the stand-in. Kenny taken down in a 1 versus 1. Apex, he's moving around the site. He is coming in not from an expected position. A very quick rotation around construction from Apex for an 8th round on the board for G2. They cannot string rounds together, the Optic Gaming side.
Yeah, and I think it's always that very hard choice that Tarek has to make there. Like, do you try to go for frags? Do you try to get that double? Or do you try to play the delay? I'm not sure if there is a 100% right call in that situation. The safer call is to try to delay, but at the same time, again, it's always going to be a difficult one. And in the moment, you just got to make that gut call. And unfortunately, he didn't get the extra frag he needed. We'll see though if Optic can bounce back. They do have the AWP in play on Tarek. In this round, he's gone Kevlarless. And we see once again Optic taking forward presence towards Banana. They do feel as though this is a good adjustment so far, but they have almost no grenades left in the tank. They've got 3 flashbangs remaining. And that's a very difficult situation on Inferno when there's 1 minute and 20 seconds left. G2 looking for any aggression, any signs of Optic. But again, as I mentioned, the apartments is much harder to deal with for the CTs than it was in the previous edition of Inferno, especially due to the fact that that bedroom is no longer there. It's a bit more open as well, generally. And once again, G2 with some late map control. Just taking Banana away from Optic, who once held it with the smoke, but now there's no utility left. Still holding on to a couple of flashbangs, though.
NBK suggesting a play towards B, while Apex picks off a player on long A. Apex traded. We've got body in a forward position towards apartments, rush with the off angle, standard stuff over there. 37 seconds left, and they're still considering their options, G2. Maybe that kill may give the game away towards the A site. Bomb now headed towards B, while a play is made by body. Not going to work out. Hayes delivering on B as well. Mixwell holding the off angle. He can engage towards Paul later on. Hayes being the bait for the meantime, and he's delivering Hayes. Shots taken down, leaving Kenny alone. And there is a trade from Mixwell. 3 players surviving, 3rd round on the board for Optic, and they pick up some AKs as well.
Yeah, they had no grenades. Again, just to mention that, they had no grenades in that round. So pretty impressive to pick it up nonetheless. We'll see what G2's response is to that round. But now Optic can have the benefit of having all the grenades once again. I'm curious if they'll keep playing Deep Banana. They've been doing so even, again, in that round where they have so little utility to spare. They still decided that there was a priority that they wanted to do that. So now it's just pistols here for G2. I don't know, this might be the first time we've seen this, James, if you consider the first map when they had seemingly infinite money. And it looks like a push again. That is the case here. Mixwell going in with a nice spray down as the aggression comes down middle as well from his teammates. And that will clean up pretty much all of G2. Optic saying they're not afraid to get aggressive, and that's very important.
Yeah, always nice to see those anti-eco rushes from the CT side on Inferno. Reasonably common across teams, and it's just nice to shut down the opponent before they can get up to any shenanigans, before they can abuse the close range, just take their options away from them. We have a tactical timeout from G2 as they consider their options. Their money is good enough. They're $4,000 to $5,000 for the most part. The AKs are coming out, and some Tech 9s as well. So not everyone will have the cash for a rifle, but Optic Gaming looking good for the time being. They've got 2 AKs in tow as well. So again, 7 to 8 is still possible. The score is currently 4 to 8 in favor of G2. See,
I do like the timing, by the way, of the timeout, because it's this spot where G2, like, they don't have any momentum, because this is one of the times when you don't want to do the timeout. It's like, oh, we have this momentum, you know, why would we do a timeout now? The rounds are you're kind of in the zone, but now, you know, they've lost the rounds, you know, all the momentum's come to a halt. Okay, maybe they still have a big advantage and they know what to do, but it doesn't hurt to take one now, as they have quite a few timeouts. So I like the timing there at this juncture. Ooh, Mixwell, he's burning James, and he will be cremated. It looks like it's Tarek left in the position by B, and 10 seconds have passed basically, and everyone's dead.
What the hell's going on, Dad?
I have no idea what is happening right now on the B bomb site. Very fast push there from G2. Perhaps a response just to Optic trying to take that position aggressively each round. It's going to work out for them, although a quick kill coming in from Hayes to try to even it up, but it really is far from what you would say is even, as it stands a 4 versus 2 in favor of G2.
G2 not rushing straight into the B bomb site, maybe having a read that the last 2 will rotate there to try and do what they can. Now the bomb is down on A. I was going to say 3 versus 2, but that's disappeared. And I don't know how much there is for Hayes to do at this point. He spotted one player, though, and that might be a window of opportunity that he needs to try and clutch this for his team. Does he go for the kill? Does he leave the player there? It will be the latter. Moving towards the site. Maybe it will be a ninja, or ninja if you're Swedish. 25 HP. He does not expect the T's to look towards apartments, although people can still try and save towards the corner of the site, and someone's jumping in but failing. Has he still got time to do this? No, Kenny not too far away.
I respect that. I respect the attempt, man. And to be fair, that's probably one of the only plays that he has there with such little health as well. He's trying to play it smart. 9-4, the score now as G2 win yet another round, and will they restrict Optic to those 4 rounds? And again, you know, what is the response from Optic now? They know that, okay, G2 has been abusing them, trying to be aggressive on Banana. Do they go back to how they were playing it before, where they weren't finding success as well? It gets a bit hazy now for Optic to make the calls as to how they want to deal with this. They've got 3 towards Banana. That's a good call, actually, from the Optic side, as G2 have been very aggressive towards this position. It looks like they're going for another fast one, James.
Indeed, there are 3 players, though, towards the B bomb site. Rush, not too far from Speedway. Flashbang timing doesn't quite work out for Tariq. Classic stuff from the CT side. What's not classic, though, is Hayes standing in the middle of mid with a CZ. And now NBK rotating towards second mid. In the meantime, Apex picking Tariq off towards B. So this is turning into Bedlam. Now we've got a full rotation from the CTs towards the B bomb site. But G2, they're not committing to anything just yet. In fact, the bomb is going back towards mid as NBK charges up this second mid area.
What a strange beginning of the round. I really like the play from Optic there. They put the deep smoke there towards the Banana position from middle to try to take massive control of the map. And they actually had all of G2 just boxed in, but then they sort of, I'm not sure if there was a panic or how they felt about the situation, but they all fell away. And now look at Shox go. A quick double for him. Might be a peak for a third. And Shox goes for the engagement, doesn't get it though, but still, he's put his team in a 4 versus 2 situation. And they know that one of the 2 players remaining is at B, so they know they have a 4 versus 1 guaranteed on the A site at the moment, as the bomb will make its way there. And again, Optic in a pretty impossible situation to save this round. So out of position, they'll decide to save. But I'm a bit sad that we didn't see Optic staying in middle for a bit longer. Perhaps it was a response to Tariq going aggressive and getting picked off from Banana. I'm sure we'll get the analyst talking about it later on, perhaps. So we have another round going the way of G2. Is it just going to be 4, James? That's the question in this half for Optic.
Well, it's going to be 4 or 5. So
well done.
Let's see. They're not going to get much money from this round loss. They have an AWP and an M4 to play with. I mean, we've seen it. They've had some difficulty trying to get aggressive. You saw Mixwell was naded into oblivion, playing around a car position on Banana with the AWP. So will that deter him from doing it again? I mean, it's partly spawn dependent as well. He's got an average spawn towards both areas. So we'll find out what they choose to do. UMP onto Nafly. Mixwell buying some grenades here or there. We're asking a lot of Optic to get a 5th round on the board. Nafly with the Mag 7 now.
Shox always looks so razor focused. It's crazy. Whenever you look at him, I start to get more focused just by looking at him, James.
You should put a picture of him on your desktop.
I probably should.
4 players towards Banana for the T side again. Maybe expecting a Mixwell play there. Maybe expecting someone to try and get aggressive. The numbers game, the grenades, everything. The flashbang is there. NBK picked off towards bottom mid. And Mixwell's charging on the flank. And they're being contained, G2. This could be another round for Optic.
What a massive play from Mixwell. Doesn't care. Crazy ballsy play, rushing mid with an AWP. And now we have just Shox remaining. And for how long is he going to survive? What on earth was that? Straight through the smoke, crazy spray. And now he's in a 1 versus 2. He's got 5 points of health. What on earth is he going to do to try to save this one? The bomb is down on the bomb side as well. Only problems here for Shox. I can't even think of a single positive thing that he has going for him.
Handsome.
I guess that works, but will his handsomeness save him here? We've got Mixwell looking for yet another frag. He's already got 2 in this round. And I still can't believe the crazy rush that he had, just going for it down middle after the first pick. Gambling that there would be no one to punish him
And this gamble was a winner. Shots on the angle, but Mixwell ready for it. Easy shot for him, and Mixwell winning the round in extravagant fashion, pulling a G2 to 5 rounds in this first half. And that does give them a chance here into the second, especially if they're able to win finally a pistol round.
Body's girlfriend is not going to be happy about that. It was bad enough when women were holding the site. Now it's men. Optic with 5 rounds moving into their second half. It wasn't enough on Overpass. It wasn't nearly enough on Overpass. Inferno, will it be a different story, or will they be playing the same tune? T-side for Optic Gaming. Hayes will be the grenade man. 2 flashes and a smoke. Everybody with Kevlar for G2. They're looking for the Ed shots. No H necessary. 2-3 set up from G2. Quite standard, but it's a 5-man rush. It is a procession, a pilgrimage into the B bomb site.
The body's waiting there with the USP, missing the first few shots. They're getting closer and closer. He's getting more and more tagged up here. Apex there to try to help him out, and they're playing that classic position to Heaton and Potty, but they're not hitting anything almost. Body does get one in Apex as well, but still more players here to go. In comes the rotation, and Shox, rather legendary with the USP, as apparently is Kenny S, striking down the airborne Tarek, now just leaving Rush at the back of the bomb site, eliminated as well.
Smiths is pleased.
The Smiths
is pleased. He needs like just a high chair with like fake gold on it and maybe some cubic zirconia nonsense going on, some Game of Thrones level stuff.
That's 4 or 4 pistols, James, that they've won, I think.
Yeah, all the pistols, man. The aim is just too strong on the French side. French notorious for their edge shots. That is just nasty. It's nasty stuff. 11-5. The worst has happened for Optic Gaming. The pistols are out, but the Kevlar isn't.
I mean, it must feel so demoralizing to just lose every pistol, because it's just, you don't ever get a chance to really play your game as much. You never get a chance to have G2 in a position where you can initiate your strategies and have the edge in that sense. But we have all these pistols running very quickly up mid. They're actually wrapping around the site. Can MBK hold on? Not for too long. Gets 1 kill though. But still, Kenny S is in position and he's doing a great job.
Ding dong, headshots everywhere. Down to the 2-1-2. Only 1 CT in position, that's Shox, but he's got the bomb as well. And Optic, they're so far away, it allows Apex to also get into position. He's looking for them to come in from the back, and that's exactly what they will do. He'll clean up both of them. Apex bleaching mid, 12-5 in favor of the Frenchman, the CT side. Optic won't have much to offer in this round. They've got about $3,000 for the most part. Is this a death by paper cut, Stan?
That sounds horrible, James. I hope not.
Duncan said they'll be brutalized. Doesn't seem wrong so far. Next round, they will be offered an opportunity to change their fate, change the story in the books, the tales of time.
Very aggressive here from G2. And I love this as well, taking all those forward positions as much as you can on the CT side. It gives you a lot more information, you pressure the Ts, you make them feel forced to make certain decisions. You know that they either have to try to push you and basically get rid of your forward positions, or they go towards A. So it makes it much simpler than just waiting and giving them all the positions that they might want. Proactive style of Counter-Strike is what G2 is playing, and so far it's given them 13 rounds to the 5 of Optic Gaming. We'll see how far or as you said, if Optic can actually change the story somewhat here on their first buy.
It's worth mentioning also that Body appears to have a fault with his mouse at the moment. So after this game, because I have the same mouse as him, I'm going home to get one of my mice so he can use it. So we'll see if that impacts his play. It doesn't seem so at the moment. He's 14 kills for 11 deaths. So he seems to be managing, surviving.
He's been going ham.
I know, right? So maybe when he disconnects his mouse, it's just going to disintegrate. But we will try to sort him out ASAP. 1 minute 30 on the clock. Lots of time for Optic to do what they can, but again, do they have that Dewey 2K factor on the Optic side? I don't know if they have an equivalent to pressure G2 and You see G2 have no intentions of sitting back and allowing the T's to do what they want to. Here comes the push from the CTs. 2 men pushing, but Naf and Mixwell are ready for it.
They're getting very confident, G2, and being punished. That's what you like to see here in Counter-Strike. If someone takes like a big risk, that you're able to set yourself up to punish them. And again, it's pretty similar to how G2 were playing their T side. They started punishing Optic for wanting to charge down Banana, and now it's the opposite way around. Oh, speaking of which, though, Apex just going in, no respect. He heard the scope, and he wanted to jump past it. And it was very successful, at least in getting the first kill. But it's still a 2 versus 3 for G2. However, Optic are moving into their clutches, perhaps. We'll have to see whether or not the likes of Kenny with that FAMAS can make it happen. A dink, but that's all he's going to get. MBK in perfect position there. This is a very difficult position to deal with. The headshot angles, gets the first kill. Now just toying with the next opponent. Again, a very favorable engagement. He would wish he would have an M4 here in this position. The FAMAS unreliable, and that will not yield any additional kills for MBK. But still, 3 kills in that round from G2 at the very least. They keep the pressure on.
It's a French gun, man. He was betrayed. He was betrayed by the FAMAS. I was going to say opportunity knocks for Optic, but Kenny has bought an AWP. So we'll see who knocks. 7 rounds between the 2 teams at present. Optic on 6. G2 3 away from a 2-0 scoreline versus their North American opponent. A 3-2 set up from the CT side to kick things off. Shox with an AWP as well, headed towards the bomb site. Double flashes will allow him to charge forward. Oh, missing a shot, just strafing before clicking the mouse. A common occurrence with Orpers. Rush, though, won't be so lucky, but he will survive for a time. Mixwell taken down in the meantime, and there's Tarek pushing through apartments. Nasty surprise for him. 5 versus 3, looking good for G2 at the moment.
Yeah, it's an awkward spot for Optic. They're in a desperate position where they have to make a play, and they have to decide very quickly where to do that, because you don't want to be in a position where your time is the enemy as well. Right now, time is with them. And the thing is that G2 are looking for their play. They understand what is likely to happen at the moment. You can see MBK in front of this, the play with the smoke and the Molotovs, able to get a very fast pick off. Good timing coming in from the peak from his teammate as well. Apex will fall, but MBK still in position with the UMP. Gets all 3 kills for a total of 4 in this round. Great stuff there from him. 14-6.
It's a very nice play from NBK. He sees the velocity on the grenades, and he knows that he has an opportunity to just charge in before the player is ready to draw his weapon and fire some shots. It's a great play from NBK. Very fast reactions there for a 14th round for G2. 1 AK and a bunch of pistols for the Optic Gaming side. They've got some grenades though, but do they have the execute behind those grenades? And will it yield them a round? They've only got 6 at present. It's been all G2 in this series so far. Kenny with the cheeky peek, full of confidence. Hayes looks away. And that's the last thing he will see. 4 versus 3, top mid, but they've got an opportunity to perhaps steal the AWP away. Indeed, they'll do exactly that. Very patient shot, though, from Shox. You are surrounded, Optic Gaming.
Yeah, just look how much time Kenny has bought from just those re-peaks. They look crazy, they look aggressive, but ultimately they help to just allow G2 to dominate once again in another round. They stop Optic from being able to execute anything. And now we have what could be the last round, because Optic have no money to play with. They have to force buy to prevent G2 from just taking it right here and now and making it 16-6. At the Eagle and 4 Tech 9s, a handful of smokes, flashbang and a Molotov. Let's see what the Optic team are going to do. It's likely going to be a rush somewhere. Is it B or is it A? Looks like it's likely going to be towards Banana. There's 3 players there from G2. They are going to be prepared for this.
Shox could get taken by surprise. He's very close with an AWP. But again, no respect for their opponent. G2 just that damn good. But again, the strafe before firing the shot misses the mark. And there's an AWP to be collected. Kenya's taking Hayes down towards top mid in the meantime, but they don't know if anything else lies in mid. Kenny repositioning to library position. So there are only 2 CTs on the site, but that might be enough. Body and Apex cleaning up. And that's it, 16-6. Another dominating scoreline. Duncan wasn't wrong. It was a brutal match of Counter-Strike, courtesy of G2.
Right now, G2, they look like the Grim Reaper, just knocking on the door, taking tournament lives. They will move forwards, I think, the favorite, or one of the favorites for many people in this tournament, a tournament that's very, very difficult to call who will win. But G2 looking very good here today. Optic felt the full force of the G2 lineup. As not only did they look individually very prepared, they looked strategically prepared, James. They gave the full respect to Optic. They did their research.